What up, YouTube? It's Khalif here. I wanted to speak about that video RCD1 had, Anime Court. Naruto versus Goku. Now, oh, my bad. Now, the reason why I wanted to make a video about this, which I'm pretty sure a lot of people would, is they didn't represent Dragon Ball Z good at all. No, I think the defense was subtly poor. Like, yeah, that one black dude, or I don't want to say black, nah, it don't matter. That one black guy didn't even sit there and really, he just said, yeah, he said some good stuff, but then the other guy just kept bringing up Vegeta, like, oh, Vegeta this, or Vegeta, oh, Gohan. He just brought one fact about, like, one little small things. But let's get a little more in-depth about it. For the simple fact, yeah, Vegeta did have a big character development. He went from a planet destroyer, a murderer, a tyrant, to somebody, yeah, who learns what it means to protect somebody, what it means to have and to love something when everything was already ripped from you. And he learned how to make a new home even though his was destroyed, and he rebuilt bonds. And where he could be able to concede to the stronger person or better person, which was Goku. Yeah, at the end of Dragon Ball Z, he did concede to him. And there was, yet again, yes, Gohan. Gohan did... He has a big, outstanding development growth as far as just change how a character develops and changes. Not as, oh, he got ultra powerful, but just how a character changes. So in the mindset of like, okay, when he was a child, he was nothing, like, he was soft. You know, he had to train with Piccolo to get stronger. He put him out into the wilderness for 6 months to learn to survive on his own. And then Piccolo did hand-to-hand combat with him. And then there was also the time he trained with his father in a hyperbolical time chamber to fight Cell. But the thing is, with those developments, he got stronger mindset. He learned what it means to protect somebody, and what it means to have a duty upon your shoulders, and what it means to have the whole fate of the world on you. And that is a big character development. And now, yeah, even though as far now he achieved his dream as becoming a scholar, he did something. And that's where I feel like a lot of people just miss about Dragon Ball Z, is that you see how Chi-Chi was proud of him. You see how even Vegeta was sitting there doing stuff for Capsule Corporation. He would sit there and he will do stuff for Bulma. You'll see the personal life they were able to develop even after war and then some boss coming. And then there's also another character development, Majin Buu. Let's not forget the fact that Majin Buu started off as a big major villain. It's not Kid Buu, but yeah, there's Majin Buu. You gotta think about it. Buu was able to separate himself from his evil self, and then, yeah, ultimately, yeah, he did get reabsorbed, but he still was a piece of him here that still was good. So for him to be able to change from somebody who didn't give a crap about life or humanity to somebody who was a protector now, well, I wouldn't say protector because he doesn't have a long enough resume for any goodness in his heart, but he still changed. So to see him further development, and also what he did when he was training before the Tournament of Power, he started to train. He got his body into tip-top shape. It was something new. And then also Android 17. Even though we didn't really get to see Android 17, we see him, the bits of him that actually did change. As far as, let's say, when he started as Android, he was just really cocky, arrogant. He was conniving. He was sarcastic. He had just all the personal traits of somebody who does not care or give a fuck at all. And I feel like for him to finally care about something, to develop a family, so quote-unquote stated, has a family, and he protects his island because he loves the creatures that are on there, shows that he has a softer heart. And also for even Android 18. 18 now has a life with Krillin. She's actually helped defend the people she loves. She's helped she helped Goten and Trunks defeat Bio Broly. Like, let's not forget that. She even determined the power. She's even sacrificed, like, even though yeah, they did go over that. She sacrificed herself to go into that Tournament of Power, yeah, to the fight for everyone's blood. She didn't have to do that. They could have just spent the last moments just doing whatever she wanted, probably looting any bank or, anything she wanted to. But she didn't. She went into the heat of battle. Now, yeah, as far as character development for Naruto, I see it there, but it's in the slimmest of all gray lines. For the fact of Naruto wasn't more. It wasn't for me to see him grow up. Wasn't more of like he really developed like drastically, as I would say somebody like Gohan or Vegeta, or so on and so forth. And even Yamcha, because even Yamcha had a character development where he went from a petty thief into a protector of a Z fighter. They risked their lives to fight against anything that might threaten Earth. He was always immature, and then he got a little bit more maturity in terms of combat, but mindset wise, it's always the same thing, same motto. This is my ninja way. Like, he forever has a new ninja way, but it doesn't really change of who Naruto was, an uncanny kind of person, who jumps off the fly gun. And when they said that he was a smart ninja, I won't take away that Naruto has his moments, but he's never been totally that ninja, even up until he probably reached into adulthood. But it took, like, I'm not saying there's still character development, but he's still not. He still has that same every characteristic, which even when he fought Orochimaru, he just gunned it right into the battle, motions fly off the bat. Even until the end, motions fly off the bat. He always needed somebody to rein him in. Whereas for Goku, even though Goku, he is a little dumbfounded in terms of sense of combat and sensibility of danger, and have to know when it comes to get time to work together, somebody to strategize a plan, he can do that. But Naruto can't. Gohan can do that. Naruto can't. Piccolo, the master strategist, Naruto can't. And the only other biggest character development I've seen is Rock Lee and Sasuke. Now, Rock Lee had to go into where, how can you be a ninja without having any real amounts of chakra where you can perform ninjutsus or genjutsus, but his specialty ultimately was taijutsu. But he had to go past the fact, okay, I can't do ninjutsu, so he put it all into taijutsu. So he had to sit there and go over his weakness, people bullying him. He trained his body and mind, and to not let words affect him, not to let anybody affect who he is as a person. I understand that. And then Sasuke, he developed into from like a peace-loving kid who all he wanted to do was be like his brother or be better, and then it turned into more of a hatred or rage, and it turned more into a destiny. But he did ultimately change drastically from, again, a fun-loving person to somebody who was in a darker mindset, and then he got dragged further deep into the darkness until he was revealed the light, and which ultimately changed who he was. He's not the same, because we already seen in the Naruto movie how an alternate version of Sasuke would be like. Like, it wasn't a big change in him. If you was to see, that's how he would have stayed in Konoha growing up. Nothing happened to his parents, that'd have been all the same. But he turned into something different. He just a whole different person. Even so far much as a character development, even Kakashi has a big character development. He has a development where he did come from he came from a prestigious father who was a top ninja, and then he was called a coward, a person who ran away, and then he had to sit there and he had to build a repertoire for himself. He, even at a young age, I think it was at the age of 12, he became a Jonin. Whereas Naruto and them didn't become Jonins until they was older. Red Neji didn't come to a Jonin until he wasn't even Kakashi's age. But Kakashi was more, he had to prove something, and then he only looked out for himself. And even for the likes of me, I can't remember his name, the one that inherited the wood ninjutsu style, like Hashirama, he even states that Kakashi, this is not the same Kakashi. And if you take from the story that they've shown you and everything they say into the statements, it is a big character development. But as far as I can see, it's just different. For me, Sakura didn't have that much of a big character development because she still lusted over Sasuke. She still wanted him. No matter how, even if she cut hair, determined to change, she did nothing but physically make herself stronger Yeah, she got battle-wise, yeah, she's always been strong, but it's not like she did anything that was a drastic change. And then I still feel like, not yet again, there's other characters who I feel like who didn't have much of a drastic change except getting physically stronger. Like, yeah, in Dragon Ball Z, the whole point is, yeah, you see people big power levels, but doesn't mean there's still no technique in there. And that's where my other thing comes into their fighting styles. Now, one thing I can't take away from Naruto, which I think Naruto wins, and is, yeah, they have a bigger, and I'm not saying fighting they win, but I'm saying in like how big it is and how expansive it is. Yes, there's so many techniques out there that you can just keep throwing out. You got the guy who can't ever die, he's immortal. You got the other one who has I forgot his name. He was part of the Katsuki. He has the things that come out of his body. They have all different kinds of elements that come to him. He was the one to kill the cage. You got Itachi with his genjutsu, his unique way of doing it, and then you got Sasuke with his the way he changed up the Chidori, and he has the Chidori stream, and then you got Kakashi with his lightning, and then how he can copy anybody's ninjutsus, and you got Killer B with the 8 swords, and so forth and so forth. But one thing I feel like you can't take away from Dragon Ball is that, yeah, you see a lot of hand-to-hand combat, I think that's Clash, but doesn't mean there's no versatile way of fighting, which has been proven. There was how they had to change up their fighting style from when they had the Super Vegeta. It was a powerful body, but what it did lack, what Goku has stated, was speed and mobility, in which in any high-speed fight, when you know from Dragon Ball Z, they're moving like beyond light speed. You can't just have a bulky body. And so, which they had to improvise that with going to Super Saiyan 2, which released it all into a balanced state of power. And but also, let's not forget, in Dragon Ball, he had his magic pole, his power pole. He used the staff until a lot of his fights in Dragon Ball. There's also the time for love, Trunks with the Z, I believe it's the Z sword, but Trunks with the Z sword. Then yeah, there's only 2 times that anybody really ever use a weapon, but there's also how Majin Buu fought. Majin Buu fighting style was uncanny. He had techniques like where he turned people to candy, or he can absorb another fighter, and then he has infinite regeneration, or as such as the way he fought was just totally just something you would never think a fighter would do. He's throwing punches through the ground to come out of anywhere. He's sitting there, the way he's swiveling his body is just totally different. And then Cell himself was nothing more than just straight up power. It wasn't more even just, everything was downloaded to him as a fighting instinct. But then you got Goku, who even the whole Dragon Ball was nothing more than straight technique. It wasn't anything else like, oh, I'm just going to raise my power level to the next stage. It was technique. Even as it's been displayed in Super, it was nothing more than technique that they all had to use during the Tournament of Power. Even how they had shown different levels of way you can fight, which I liked how they brought it back into the element of Dragon Ball. Because in Dragon Ball Z, I felt like they had it when they had Goku fight Frieza. But I feel like after, let's say, I kind of want to say during particular fights, like where power did come, like power and strength really did come into it, was when they fought Broly, Beerus. Even I'm gonna bring up even JT, Baby. There's so many. There's just so many. I don't want to say so many other people, because there's not that many. I won't even say there's that many main villains. Oh, even Majin Buu, you had to have acquire a certain power level and strength to be able to surpass these people. Means you have to train your ass off. In which I would say fighting has to definitely just go to Dragon Ball, for the simple fact is that it's not little training. I'm not saying Naruto never did any little training, but training was for Goku and Vegeta every day. They wake up, they breathe, they live it, they fight. That's all it was to them. So when it comes to tenacity, fighting, and then the techniques, not the versatile ways of fighting, but just the techniques of what they have learned, and even now they're going further into learning how they've been through hundreds of battles, and then now they have they're learning Ultra Instinct. Yeah, there's other ways to fight as they're showing you, and now in Dragon Ball Super, but now it also comes down Ultra Instinct when you're reaching a godly like level where you have to make it shouldn't be like in my opinion, I feel like it should be something that's already built into think after fighting for a couple of decades you would gain that as a martial artist, but that's the beauty of it, is that no matter how good you get, there's always a higher level which you can attain, and that's why I feel like it's good about it. Now, as far as story goes, I gotta give it more onto Naruto for the simple fact, when you talk about Dragon Ball Z in terms of story, Dragon Ball was okay, because talk about a legend that was coming, like a Demon King Piccolo. You hear the story, they prep and prepare for it, and a lot of stuff that they trained him with until he was younger. To that point, Search for Dragon Balls all concluded all together. But when you get into Dragon Ball Z, the story was okay, but it wasn't nothing really totally unique about it. Yeah, you ultimately learned that Goku's not from, that was a big mind, like, he's not from Earth. He's from planet Vegeta, and then he was originally sent there. That is good. It's a good way to learn that. And then, he had to sit there and ultimately die, go to and travel to a new world when he met King Kai. And then on his travels and all that, he came back, he defeated the Saiyans, and then, they had to travel to a planet Namek, and then where they meet the person who gave everybody doom, and then you learn the story of Bardock, also upon with it, and then, you have the Cell Saga. I believe the Cell Saga comes after that. Cell Saga was, I think, the Cell Saga to me was the best story of how they did it, because, you have how Cell came to the future way before Future Trunks came, and so he came from another split timeline that was already basically dead. And so you got another Trunks come from a different timeline. So when you think about it, and ultimately, I don't want to just sit to go if you think like, there's 3 timelines. But staying on track is that just to learn stuff like that, it's like, oh my god. And then you got to learn about how the prophecy, how they said Goku would die. And then so now since he's back, he gave Goku a cure to cure him of this virus. And we learn how, what happened to Goku when he came back to Earth. And then when you gotta fight the androids, and then how they prepared to fight Cell. But I feel like even with all that, even though it was a little bit more intricate and how it all went down and what was going on, how they also gave us what happened to Trunks in that different time frame, future time frame, I just feel like it still wasn't even up to Super. Super is more like, it's more of a journey. It gives you more of a journey, like a game would give you, beating bosses and levels. Like, I'm not saying some of the stories aren't good, but it's not like Naruto. Naruto follows on how he uncovers the truth about who his father is. He discovers so many secrets about the village, and then how they all intertwine, and how pain has really, and this is how what Nagato was really getting on some. Pain affects everybody. And how it caused so much pain, and it just caused so much things to go on to another mindset and heart. And it was just a lot of points that they would make references to, which made it really good. Now, I can't get past the fillers, but yet again, I don't want to bring that up because, it doesn't totally have anything to do with the story. But I like how some of the fillers actually do. Like the story of Pain, how the Sage of Six Path Sun started Indra and Ashura. But even with all that into account, it still predominantly makes Naruto's story better than Dragon Ball. But overall said, not, and in my mind, I really love, and now I love Naruto, and I really do love Goku. But the thing which really bothers me about Now, this is where I feel like it's going to be, where I feel like they should have put in consideration. Because if you want to talk about just Dragon Ball Z, I don't want to just talk about Dragon Ball Z. You can't talk about Dragon Ball Z without talking about Dragon Ball or Dragon Ball Super. Or I don't even want to bring in GT, because for the simple fact that GT was now stated is not canon, it's not part of the timeline. So you can't even totally accept GT. But when you talk about all that, and even with Naruto, you gotta talk about Boruto, because that's the grown-up version of Naruto that's in Boruto, and that still goes on to further character development and all that other stuff. And ultimately, I would say Naruto will get it, and in some ways, but the edge will still have to go to Dragon Ball. For the fact is that Naruto, for me, is getting a little run on. Like, it's like you're seeing the same shit, but just a different way. It just seemed to me at first they just recycle the villains. Even in some of the movies, they recycle the villain that we already know about, or that just comes from the same thing. Even Boruto the movie, it just felt like a recycled villain, a recycled fight. Like, okay, yeah, he had different powers, and you see how they have their new abilities. But even with Naruto in that fight in Boruto the movie, we didn't see anything really new from him. Sasuke didn't. He seen something different from him, but Naruto, not so much, not in the slightest. Whereas in Dragon Ball, they push their people to a new level where they force them to, alright, we gotta do something different. Even in Dragon Ball, even in the Super and the Turn of the Power, I don't, like, and I forgot which arc it is, but it's, even with the, in the arc where they had to fight Zumasu and Goku Black, it was just such a difference to see. Like, they kept getting their ass beat. They came back and they come stronger. And then you see how Vo, who had godly power, who can enhance the powers automatically. It was just a beautiful way to put it. It's just too beautiful. Like, it's art. And like, even though I don't want to say this, like, I don't want to suck off Dragon Ball Super too bad. Like, I'm not saying like it's the best anime out there. No, it's not. But in terms of a continuum and how a character still develops, and how the plot, just good. It's just, you can't take that away. But the only thing I can sit there and say that does have a downside about Dragon Ball is how, and now in Turn of Power, you get a transformation. Somehow, since you just now discovered a transformation, you're stronger than this guy who had it for years. Doesn't make sense. And so it's like little wonky about some stuff, but it was little wonky about Boruto is that I feel like he's never had the same struggles as Naruto, so it's like the same thing, a repeat of Dragon Ball Super. You get this, you get that, somehow you just get this. The only thing I can say is that Boruto, it does come with a little more of a struggle, but not as much as a struggle. Yeah, like as far as like how we would put it in a different way, but not entirely. So in a sense, I would in an edge, like in a sense, slightly, I would still give it to Dragon Ball, because it's just, you gotta understand also, they are the ones who inspired Naruto and so many other great mangas and animes that's out there. They also are the top when it comes to epic fighting scenes and giving it that last, showing how the characters give it their final push. Even I wasn't gonna do this, but even the category of music, like, I like Naruto's intros. Majority of the intros are the best intros I've ever seen in anime history. But when it comes to dynamic music and all intros within Dragon Ball Z, it's like a high tension. It's like, oh, you know it's about to go down. Even when they stare at each other for minutes upon minutes, would you like, come on, hurry up, get to the fight, it's still like, but the music has still got your heart pumping. You can feel it. Whereas even with Naruto, it was more like, it was suspenseful sometimes, but it was like the music didn't really draw me in. A lot of times it was more the dynamics of the artwork, but as far as the music goes, nah, not entirely when it comes to battle scenes either. And like, I don't know, it just doesn't, like, Naruto, doesn't do it for me in over a capacity of like how much Dragon Ball would. But yeah, that's my intake. I'm not saying what I'm saying is a definite fact. I'm just throwing it out there as an opinion. If you don't agree with me, you don't have to agree with me. But you could just take into consideration about what I have said. And then if you like the way I defended Dragon Ball's claim more than the RCD1 did, then just leave a like. But leave a like, thumbs up. If you didn't, thumbs down. Doesn't really matter to me because, and again, it's just all out there as a personal opinion. Tell me what you think in the comments below. Thank you.